Hello and welcome back to the Marketing Brief Podcast. I am your host, Brian and this is the podcast where we talk about anything really across the marketing landscape. I love it all. This is a special subset. People have been enjoying these of the Marketing Brief Podcast, which we're calling the Social Fabric Sessions. And the whole idea is to get to better know the members of the social fabric. And of course, I could sit here and talk to myself all day like I do in the shower, but we brought a guest on who is both a friend and a colleague. Gabe Gordon, welcome into the Social Fabric Sessions.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm glad we're not doing this session in your shower. So,
yep, that's a completely different podcast. We know you as the CEO of the Reach Agency, but this whole idea is to kind of better know a Gabe. So, is there a way that you introduce yourself where you don't talk about what you do for work? Is that a good challenge for you?
It's really hard these days. It depends on who you're talking to. Obviously, like my parents and their friends, I describe myself as something differently. A lot of people don't know what creator marketing is. And then friends outside of work. I actually love it when I don't describe what I do for work or don't even talk about work at all. I think it's important in one's individual development and to have that identity outside of what you do for work, even though it's hard to escape sometimes when you're running a company.
Sure is. So how would you describe yourself without saying what you do?
Look, I still think my X handle probably nails it. I say lover of mountains, oceans, father. That would be it. I think every time I'm not working, I try to be outdoors as much as possible. I probably do stuff I shouldn't be doing at my age just to get a little bit of a thrill. But yeah, I'm a big outdoors person. I'm a big family man. And, I would sum that up as my identity.
That's awesome.
Outside of work.
And is that how you've built kind of communities outside of work? Do you have like parent communities and friends that you go and do things in the outdoors with?
Absolutely. I feel like everybody has 20 groups of friends that they do different things with. Look, as much as I can blend those, there's work people like I'll go skiing with. There's work people I'll go mountain biking with or road biking with. There's others we'll go on adventure trips on. There's different families from a personal standpoint. We'll go on certain types of vacations with. I think there's always so many circles. And as much as you can get that convergence between them, I think the happier you are in life.
Yeah. I imagine with those crossover friends, I guess, that are both kind of in the industry you work in and then also where you play, have you fostered deeper relationships with those people?
Absolutely. I think, as much as you can create different experiences with someone, the deeper your relationship with is. I also think that even if you meet someone in business and they don't hit with your core interests, I like the personal journey of finding what that middle ground is. It could be food, it could be travel. It could be weird collection niches. I feel it's one of the joys in life of getting to know somebody and getting to either learn from them or on something that you might not be interested that you didn't know about. But that's the joy in friendship and just learning as a person overall. So
yeah, I assume that when you're working, that's not an opportunity to kind of get to know someone better, or maybe there are some opportunities. But what are like the times or the occasions when you have that time to really like get to know people? Either you're working with, because you'll probably spend more time with them, but people that you partner with, people that you work with. Like, what are the occasions or like the events that you might be at where you have that time to do that?
I mean, it's really hard. Look, I say like when I meet someone, I'm probably a bit of a stalker. I try to find them on Instagram, Facebook, X. And look, I think you learn a lot about a person, right? You learn about their family. You're able to connect with them and have that relationship with them. A lot of my clients, I'm DMing with them on Instagram versus sending them formal emails and building that relationship. But look, it's hard, sometimes, yes, you get to travel on a shoot with someone and share an experience there. But a lot of times, as you know, we're stuck in conference rooms or we're at conferences. And, there's a variety of conferences. There are some that are more fun than others, but it's all about taking those moments, right? Whether it's a side excursion or it's a great dinner out and being able to like share an experience with someone.
Totally. I have numerous examples of that. I mean, I feel like this digital community that you and I both came up in, had to fight like for dollars, right? We had to fight to get on media plans, and like sales and buyers and researchers were all kind of working together. And that really forged my early, I guess my early idea of what a career looked like, and what, like, work and play kind of overlapped. Did you have a similar experience kind of coming up in digital?
I had a much different experience because I started at William Morris. I was at a talent agency. And so I think what was really interesting about that is that, one, the value of having tight relationships and a network was the top of the top. It was all about who you knew, right? And it was very transactional at times, but because of the nature of working in entertainment, you were always doing something fun. You were on a set, you were going to movie premieres, you were hanging out with celebrities, going to shows. It was built into sort of the culture there. But I realized the value of that relationship. What I think I learned later in life is not only the fact that I had to build relationships and have a network, but how to cultivate that without having to, make it transactional or monetize it at every single place. And then understanding the lifetime of a relationship and the value it brings. I have a ton of relationships that are CMOs of companies that I would love to have as clients with Reach, but it doesn't matter. I value the relationship with them as a colleague more, and it doesn't have to be transactional. We can still learn from each other. We can still talk about business, but I don't feel the need to be singularly focused on like, I need to make you my client right now.
Yeah, that is a long-term view. I love that. I mean, we've talked a little bit on this podcast about how relationships have become very transactional. And it's like, okay, move along. Okay, we don't need to talk if there's no reason for us to do business. But I love that you have that view. And I'm sure people have come back to you. I'm sure the clients have come back to you kind of in a long view, because you've built that relationship first.
Absolutely. And I've had just relationships and friends that I've had for years that there's actually a transaction after 5 or 6 or 7 years,
Yeah.
But it feels right then.
Right.
And that was never the goal. We just, worked in the same space and we liked each other and we had other common interests. But I think it's a great lesson that not everything has to be a transaction and a goal. And that, I think we live in an unfortunate world where you probably spend more time with your colleagues at work and your business contacts, sometimes than family members, right? And so you should have that relationship. If you can cultivate a network where you enjoy the people that you're working with, I mean, that's wealth right there. So
yeah, that is. I mean, and then it's a comfortable environment for everybody. It's summer in Southern California. We both live in Southern California. What are you out there doing with your communities outside of work?
Biking, surfing, traveling, all that kind of stuff. I have been working a lot, so there has been a lot of travel, fun travel, with colleagues that are friends, or, bringing the family along as well. I don't think we live in a linear world anymore where, not everything is just one thing. You can have a work trip that's also a family trip, at the same time. But just trying to keep as busy as possible, and again, get outdoors and get out of the office. So
yeah. And you've got a couple of girls. What are the girls into this summer?
We have horseback riding. We have softball. We have sewing as well. But yeah, and we tried mountain biking. Didn't catch on as much as I had hoped, but we made a little progress. It's a long-term view.
Exactly.
Then just pool and beach as much as we can. So
yeah, well, maybe they'll come back to the mountain biking at some point.
At some point.
You can find it at different times in your life, I'm sure.
We try.
Have you been to any events recently? Any conferences that you thought were like worthwhile, worth your time? I don't want you to talk about the ones that weren't.
I mean, look, the biggest one I just came from was Cannes, and I think what's really interesting about that is it's gotten so big, and it is so expensive. It's such a big investment. But I think the way I approached it was great. I don't. While I have clients there, I'm not sitting and taking them around. I do have touch points with them, but I really use it as an opportunity to connect with colleagues, and whether that's a dinner, a drinks, meeting with talent, or going off and doing something fun. For example, one of the first nights I was there, it happened to be Father's Day. there was a huge group of guys. We got together and we did a Father's Day dinner without our children and our wives. But that's a great example of like being able to have fun, and being in a place like that. But no one talks about going to Canada and doing like a Father's Day dinner. But it was great. It was really fantastic. So
yeah, and connecting over common ground is always a fun thing to do with friends. That's great.
Exactly.
All right. Well, I love to ask this question. Do you know when the last time you danced was?
Yeah, it was actually at Cannes as well. It's a funny story. I was meeting with someone and it was supposed to be drinks, and then we said, "Hey, let's just do dinner," and it was like impossible to get a dinner reservation. And the other person said, "Hey, I found this place we can get in." It was a restaurant no one knew about. It just said Luigi's Piano Bar, Italian food. It was like, great, let's go. And none of us had any idea, but it wound up being one of these places where it starts off as a normal dinner and turns into a full dance party and a club during the
Amazing.
dinner. And none of us had any idea. It was a very unique feeling. I hadn't been in this situation before because like we didn't know we were going to be in it's a 20-person restaurant that turns into a full-on dance club. None of us knew this. We thought it was just a dinner. These aren't people I probably would have normally danced with.
Yeah.
But it wound up being such an unexpected, fun experience. And
Awesome.
I would say my relationship with those people is, we share something special now that we'll never forget as we both had that experience. And yeah, we danced our asses off. So
yeah. What a gift
I'll send you some videos if you want.
Please.
Include it's pretty great place. But yeah, it was great.
It's amazing. And what a great thing to be able to be vulnerable with people and then have that memory.
Yeah, because you have to be vulnerable, especially because again, these aren't people like I wouldn't normally dance in front of these people, but we dance together, and it just shows you how like getting in those unexpected experiences really like just strengthens your relationship with people. So
totally does. Well, the Social Fabric is kind of kicking up this year. We're both members of it. It's really an executive kind of in real life community. Are there things that you think, like, I'm kind of getting at, like, why would you want to be part of this? Like, are there things that you can get out of this? Or are there things that you think you can give to it? Or why is it that you'd want to be part of the Social Fabric?
I love the Social Fabric because I think it takes like-minded people. And it does exactly what we've been talking about. It puts them in different situations than what you're traditionally used to in our profession of sitting and watching at a conference and, having a cocktail hour to get to know someone or being sat at a table at a planned dinner. There's fun things like taco tours, there's ski trips, right? And I think they do a great job of curating people. And it's not transactional. It's you're building relationships with people, and it's an open community where you can talk and you can get advice and you can learn. And yeah, there might be transactions from it, but that's not the basis of it. But it is still professional. I think that's important is redefining like what professional means in this day and age, and making that more acceptable in our industry. So I love it because of that.
Yeah. And that's something I've loved about our industry. The Social Fabric is going to start to build these chapters in different cities, and part of that is having these meetups. We're doing them in Venice. We'll be at Zinc, kind of like an 8:30 in the morning on a Friday, before you have to kind of go off to your work day. And I've been to a couple of these already for some other organizations, and it's just that it's really casual, but it is professional, right? You're there in a professional capacity, but you don't have to talk about work or deals. Like, you can really just get to know people, which I think it's a great thing to just exist.
I agree. People are still locked into video calls or these plan meetings, and their schedules are so busy that even like the example, not a big trip, but just, hey, it's coffee once a month, like these bite-sized moments where you can bump into someone, meet someone unexpected, and again, just have a coffee. It's so smart, and it's what we all need.
Well, do you have anyone that you'd like to nominate to come on the podcast with us here? Who do you think would be a good podcast guest?
Ooh, let me think about that. Let me think about that and get back to you. But I have a long list of people I could probably recommend. So
yeah, we could nominate one or two when we post this. We can kind of call them out and tag them.
Okay.
That's awesome.
I love it.
Well, it's been awesome to get to know you a little bit better, Gabe, and let the listeners get to know you a little bit better. So thank you for joining us on the Social Fabric sessions.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Again, big believer in this, big supporter, and I hope more people join and see the vision of this. So
yeah, we're lucky to have you as part of it. And to the listeners out there, stay curious and find your community.